And now it's time for this week's difficult conversation. And it is a difficult conversation, but one we all need to have. Someone dies from suicide every 40 seconds, resulting in more deaths than all the yearly victims of wars and natural disaster, and twice as many as homicides. In the UK alone, approximately 150 people die by suicide every week. 1 in 15 will attempt suicide at some point in their life, and it's estimated in England and Wales that at least 140,000 people go to hospital each year having attempted suicide. Suicide is also the leading cause of death for people under 35, which is just shocking, isn't it? Now, Rachael Swann is the CEO of Grassroots Suicide Prevention. Their campaign aims to reduce and change the stigma around suicide by talking openly about it, which is what we're doing now. And joining me to discuss this is indeed that CEO of Grassroots Suicide Prevention, Rachael Swann. Rachael, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Really appreciate your time on a Saturday afternoon. Rachael, this is an incredible, difficult conversation to have, but it is so important we talk about it. Can you just tell us a little bit more about what your organisation does and how you became involved in it?
Yeah, Dawn, thank you so much for having me on the show today. So we're Grassroots Suicide Prevention. We're a national charity focusing on suicide prevention. We've been working in that area for 20 years. Our mission is really to save more lives to suicide, and we really specialise around connecting people to support, educating, and also campaigning.
And how did you get involved in it personally, Rachael, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I've always had, from a very young age, a real passion for supporting people, and I've done that throughout my career. But actually, we know what 135 people are affected by suicide. I've personally been affected by suicide, and so has many of the people. I've also experienced real difficult trauma through childhood. That's one of the biggest risk factors around suicide, as many others. So I've got a real passion for trying to help and bring those numbers down. They are increasing, and we need to take more action as a whole community to really support people.
And how do you support people? I mean, obviously, when people are so depressed and so suffering from sort of like, the sort of feelings that trigger suicidal thoughts, how do you reach out to people? Because it's so very often people keep these feelings to themselves.
You're so right, Dawn, and there's such a big stigma about which really prevents people from speaking out. So I would really encourage anybody that's listening to this today, if you're having any suicidal thoughts or thoughts of that nature, really encourage you to speak out. Speak to your friend, your neighbour, your work colleague. Just start talking and opening up, because you'll be really surprised about the response. As you said earlier, Dawn, 1 in 5 people will experience suicidal thoughts in their lifetime, and it's a really complex issue. There could be a whole range of reasons why someone's reached that point of crisis. It could be domestic abuse, it could be being bullied at school, it could be a really wide range, it could be a mental health issue, but it's not just around mental health. People experience suicidal thoughts for many different reasons. So I think I would say definitely we've got a free Stay Alive mobile app, which has been downloaded by nearly 1 million people. It's now across 212 countries. You can find help in your local area. It's got 600 resources on it. So I really encourage people to download that first and foremost. And also on our website, Dawn, we've got a really good video called Real Talk, and it's free. And it really teaches anybody about how to have that conversation to really help somebody open up and learn about, the risk factors and the causes, and be in that position to really help someone. Anyone can do it.
Do you think, Rachael, one of the most shocking facts when we were, researching what you do is the fact that so many young people, take their own lives. I mean, what is the reason behind the fact that it is people under 35?
There's a huge amount of research happening, Dawn. It's evolving all the time. We know, like with adult suicides, there are a multitude of factors. So that can be childhood trauma, it can be online, online harms and gambling and substance misuse. There is really, there's a whole range of factors. But what we do know, as you said, Dawn, it is the biggest killer now of the under 35s, and we really need to do as a whole community to do more. At Grassroots, we've suicide prevention. We've training in schools now, so really teaching teachers to be able to have those conversations with our students, and also involved in research to teach students directly. So it's really important that we are giving everybody the skills to be able to have those conversations and open up and really break down that stigma.
Do you think that obviously the pandemic, where obviously enormous mental health issues going on with coping with the pandemic, and the fact that we live less in communities now, Rachel, we don't talk to each other. Most of the time we have our phones or a screen in front of us. So how much more would it help if we actually stopped and talked to each other rather than sending a text message?
I think I suppose call for everybody to be more compassionate, in our communities, absolutely. But there are so many charities like Grassroots Suicide Prevention and many others. I mean, we work with sort of 17 mental health charities all working together to improve access and the quality of those services. We're working with local authorities and the NHS. There are lots of organisations really trying to help people. So I think it is. There are a range of risk factors, and it is about encouraging that conversation and open up and giving people the tools to be able to really support somebody. And for some people, that will be ongoing suicidal ideation. So getting access to the right pathways of support is really important.
So, and the app again is called Stay Alive, and that's available where you can get apps from.
It's on our website, Dawn,
Right.
which is prevent-suicide.org.uk, and you can find everything that I've spoken about today on our website.
Brilliant, Rachel. And the message is, no matter how dark a place you're in, there is always a way out of it. That's brilliant.
There's always hope. With timely intervention and support, Dawn, there's always hope.
That's brilliant. That's Rachael Swann there from Grassroots Suicide Prevention. Rachel, thank you so much for joining us, and good luck with your work. It's very important what you do there.